Good morning. Good morning out there. Welcome to Takeover Tuesdays. I'm your host, Jessica Springs. If you have never seen Takeover Tuesdays, let me tell you a little bit about what our show is. This is a show that connects community and it gives small business owners an opportunity to share their story, share their products and service, and just get to know them better so that we can all be connected and support each other. I have, as always, a special guest who I will introduce in just a moment. Before we get started, I would just like to wish everybody a happy morning. I hope you got your coffee, tea, whatever you drink, water going. And I hope that this just inspires you as we go along with this interview. And we are just going to kick it off. So here we go. Let me bring my guest in. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. This is Michelle Talarico, and I am going to let Michelle kick us off with who she is, tell us a bit about yourself, and just kind of dive into your story.
Awesome. Again, my name is Michelle Talarico. I am the co-owner of and founder of Picnic Basket Catering Collective, which is composed of three unique styles of catering. Picnic Basket is our corporate arm. Buffalo Gals is our Santa Maria style barbecue division, and Cravings is our upscale social division. We have been in business for almost 32 years, which is crazy because I feel like I'm still 23, which I clearly am not, in this community. And we just feel incredibly fortunate and blessed to still be here, getting to do what we love to do. While it has looked very different this last year, as you can imagine, with the pandemic, we are queens of figuring it out, and we like to say that we're kind of MacGyver-ish. We just, when you're an off-premise caterer, which is what we are, which means we take our events off-premise. We don't have a set banquet hall that we work at. So on a normal busy day in the summer, pre-COVID, we could have up to 20 events a day all over the state of Colorado. That was not at all an uncommon thing. We are very excited to see events starting to come back. We're now sort of freaking out that we'll have 3 events some days because we have to relearn how to cater, even though we did that successfully for 31 years before the pandemic. But when we switched our model to just try to keep our employees working, and adapted some curbside models and individual portions and things like that, things looked a little bit different. But we're happy to be a part of this community. Colorado Springs, of course, is growing and changing, and there's so many amazing opportunities, I believe, for this community and for young entrepreneurs. So I am happy to be here with you today, and answer any questions.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm glad you reached out to me, and you are someone who is new, and I love meeting new people because me and Michelle had a conversation previous to this, and the exciting thing about having new people come on is because it just expands our networks. And I was telling Michelle that it's nice to know the folks you do, but it's so nice to be exposed to different other cultures and the way people run things other than what you're used to.
I completely agree. And one of the things that we've always said, you can imagine if you've had a business for 30 years, a lot of people in town. But the great thing about this community is that probably about 10 years into our business, we felt like we had saturated the market a little bit. And that made us really nervous because most everybody knew who the Picnic Basket was. And we got nervous about that because we love competition. It makes us better. We want there to be more people and more things happening in this community. It makes us try harder. And we are so excited when we hear people say they've never heard of us. We actually get really excited about that because it can be a problem when your phone rings, meaning if you don't have to get out there and get new business and look at new avenues of success in reformatting yourself and re-engaging your staff, you can get kind of stagnant. And so while we are very thankful to all of our clients that have supported us for 31 years, we're very aware that this community is huge. And I'm so excited to meet you. And very excited to hear about all of the new businesses in Colorado Springs and hopefully find ways we can connect and collaborate.
Yes, 100%, absolutely. So let me ask you, I know you all are based in Colorado Springs. Where do you go and in the metro area, how far do you span out?
We really, so we're in Colorado Springs and we always have been, because we are off-premise catering, which means that we have about 10 large delivery vehicles that allow us to keep hot food hot and keep cold food cold. We do a lot of cooking on site. We really go everywhere. I mean, we've been as far as Kansas and Utah. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. We know that it is smarter for us to stay within the state of Colorado. We do a lot of events in the Castle Rock and Larkspur area. We're starting to really see a lot of growth in the Buena Vista, Salida, Westcliff, Rye, Howard, those kinds of markets down south. We also do a lot up in Denver, but we're here in Colorado Springs Central a lot, but it is not uncommon on a busy Saturday for us to have an event in Castle Pines and an event in Elizabeth, Colorado, and two events, one on Academy Boulevard and one downtown, and one sometimes in Pueblo. So we really are a little bit of everywhere, and you can imagine logistically that's the funnest part and the hardest part about what we do, because we have to figure out how to successfully take a hospitality experience, a restaurant, a banquet, off premise and make sure everything is perfect, because we don't have the luxury of a banquet kitchen behind us like many people do in full banquet facilities, where if 10 extra people show up, you can just say to the banquet chef, hey, whip me up 10 more plates. Well, we have to really be thinking through every single thing that could happen, and we love that, and it drives us crazy.
Mhm. I can completely relate. So I know we talked a little bit, but not much. So I don't know if I do have a very small background in catering because of all the events I've done, and I have
Yes.
really been a caterer. I really have. So,
So yeah.
so I've done a little bit of it, and not your 30 plus years by any means. So I just want to say first that I just respect and admire your business, because in my opinion it is one of the toughest businesses. Very, like you said, it's mentally, you have to think things through, logistically, physically. So I just want to commend you on it, because it is a hard business. Not that it can't be rewarding and fun, but it's some of the hardest work I've ever done was catering.
It really is, and I think that we always say that we're really, really lucky. I always kind of have this comment around this time of the year when we're doing tastings for future bookings. This is a big, like, October through January is a big booking season for future events. And so we're fortunate to do a lot of tastings with our couples. And we don't just do weddings, but it just happens to be a big wedding season right now. But I am constantly amazed after 30 years, when I've worked a 12 or 14-hour day, which is not uncommon if you own a business, no matter what you do. But I almost want to pinch myself, because I still love working with people to make their dreams come true. And that sounds really corny. And if I could find a cooler way to say it, I would. But the bottom line is that I love being a part of people's special day. And it's a very rewarding thing to get to know people and to watch those dreams come true. And yes, it's hard. I sometimes get out of my car when I get home at night, and I'm hoping my son doesn't see me stumble out. I'm so sore. But there's something just very rewarding about being a part of people's most special events, which sometimes are celebrations of life, and sometimes are weddings, and everything in between. But that's an honor that we don't take lightly.
I couldn't agree more. I definitely agree. Being an event planner and manager, I say the same thing as you. So I get it. And it sounds cliche, but I mean it too. Every time I say it, it's just nice to see the final product and
Yep.
the final celebration of what people work so hard to get to.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you talked about you walking up, to your son being tired after a long day. How much, talk to us a little bit, Michelle, about how much you're still hands on your business? Because I know you've got a whole team, and after 30 plus years, I'd imagine you don't hopefully do a lot of the labor anymore.
Yeah, probably the best thing and the worst thing about my partner and I, her name is Kathy, is that we're both still really, really involved in the business. And we could argue or assume that that's one of the reasons that we've been so successful. Sometimes we are very guilty, probably, of not letting our teams take over as much as we want. It's hard after 30 years when you've built relationships with so many people. And the real truth is, we still love the physical part of the work. Like, that's an exciting part to me. The setting of a room, the setting up ceremony chairs. I know probably to some people that sounds like, why would you do that? There's something that really is awesome to me about working with my team, that I love. I am still pretty involved. I've been trying for about the last 5 years to replace myself and to hire a director of sales, but for one reason or another, life has happened, and I haven't been successful. My hope, because we were blessed to receive the second round of PPP money, and we're now looking forward to what our business could look like post pandemic and as we recover. And we want to leave irregardless of whether we sell the business or we do some sort of an employee ownership, which we've talked about, we really want to leave a great legacy for this community. And so I'm very aware that I need to start letting others lead. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited that we have an opportunity now to look ahead and say, okay, we can pay our bills, we can keep some people working, but let's make sure we have the right people to move us forward. I have been the company's leading salesperson forever, which is a really good thing, but really not, because I love interacting and networking and being out in public. And I'm on 6 different boards and several different task force in the city. And the truth is that I could benefit the business much better if I wasn't the salesperson. And I need to give other people an opportunity. I want to give other women and men an opportunity to be successful in this career, should they choose a hospitality career. So that's kind of what I'm excited about now. The reality is that I kind of do whatever is needed. When the pandemic hit, I hadn't been a delivery driver for 10 years, but I literally had to jump in a van and deliver the few things that we had. And that was nerve-wracking, but I figured it out, and the first month or so, I was the one moving the trucks around the parking lot. And, so I do a little bit of what's needed, but as we start entering this new phase and we can see the sun or the light at the end of the tunnel, we know that it's time to bring on a general manager and a director of sales, so that we can stop doing as much of the physical work and start doing more of the long-term planning.
Yeah, I love that. And gosh, you dropped so many nuggets right now. I just want to back up a little bit because as a business owner, I love, and you have definitely have a wealth of experience, way more than I do. So you definitely know what you're talking about and you've been successful at it. So I think, gosh, you brought up so many key points. Just the fact of training others and building that legacy and transferring that torch. And I love that you bring up those points and letting go of some things, but still being hands on. So I think that's important, as we all grow.
I do too,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we've talked a bit about your team. Can you tell us more, like how many people you have working with you and for you, and how it all works, and
Yeah, definitely. We have a typically normal pre-COVID, we have about 30 to 40 full-time employees. That is a mix of probably about 8 to 10 sales and office, um, 8 to 10 in our delivery department, our operations department, 8 to 10 in our culinary department. This right now we have about 15 to 18 full-time employees. At least 5 of them are managers, office manager and service director and production manager in the kitchen and those sorts of things. We typically have about 50 to 80 part-time employees who are our servers and bartenders and captains and field chefs at events. And that has probably been the hardest. It's all been hard the last year, but one of the hardest is to have those people not have any events because, that's one thing if you can repurpose yourself and you're all of a sudden doing curbside or you're doing, delivery of family meals, but that didn't necessarily help our servers and bartenders. So we're really trying to get them back to work. I was lucky to be invited to be part of a brand new board. We started a nonprofit board called the Colorado Event Alliance, and all of my comrades are in Denver. I'm the only Southern Colorado gal at the table. And it's a group of industry professionals all across different spectrums. And our purpose was to raise money to help our frontline workers who were displaced during the pandemic, but also to keep it going for future needs. A lot of associations have things for their employees, like the Denver Actors Guild. There's a fund that if somebody breaks a leg or their car breaks down, they can apply for a small amount of grant funding for these gig workers that really rely on these individual jobs to pay their bills. And so we felt like there was nothing like that for our special events community. So we started that, and I bring that up only because the employees are a really big thing to Kathy and I. That was our biggest goal at the start of all of this was we had promises to future couples who had postponed their events to this coming year. We were not going to go out of business and not give those people back their money. We were going to find a way to stay in business. But secondly, and almost as importantly as that, was keeping our employees working. We wanted them to have a purpose, not just for a paycheck, but to have, if you run events and in your business, people, it's very communal in the hospitality world, and these people are kind of your family, good or bad. Some days better than others. But we're a close group of people, and we really didn't want to lose that. So right now we're excited to see bookings pick up for May and beyond so that we can get some of our service staff back to work. But luckily we have kept most of our core staff of about 15 to 18 people working.
that's fantastic. And I love that you're so mindful of that and doing your part. That makes a huge difference, and I'm sure all of your team is so appreciative of you trying to make those efforts.
They are,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So talk to you've talked about COVID, how that's impacted your business throughout all the years. what are some things that when you had issues and trials and tribulations, what are some things that got you through those trials and tribulations?
You know, having a business partner that really, at the end of the day, has your same intuitiveness when it comes to customer service. It's always been a huge, important thing to both of us. And we're really lucky because not everybody's business, stuff aligns. Usually someone's really good at one thing and someone's good at another. Both of us are always going to err on doing the right thing when it comes to a client. And we have tried to, when 9/11 happened, when the economy got shaky in 2008, anytime there's been stuff, which you can imagine in 30 years, there's been stuff, never coronavirus, but we've tried to compartmentalize and really take stock, literally and figuratively, of what we have, what do we own, what are our assets, literally, what can we control, what can't we control, and try to build on that and be really, really honest with our employees. And we've always been that way. You might even argue sometimes too much. But I'm one of the, I believe I'm this kind of leader that believes that authentic leadership and engaging people as if their opinion counts, because it does, returns back to you a millionfold. And so along the way, I think that has really, really helped us, is that we've run our business like a mom and pop or a mom and mom business, because that's just how we felt. Sometimes it's probably a little bit too, not literally touchy feely, but sometimes it's, people don't want to be that known at work. But we really we have that kind of culture where it's a core value that we stick up for one another and believe in each other, and we try to provide a place where people can grow their careers, and not just financially, but with responsibilities. And I want someone to go home at the end of the day and feel like I was a part of something really cool. Yeah, I could look at it like it's just food. Like, right, we all can minimize each other's whatever we all do. But at the end of the day, if you have a feeling that you were a part of something special, and you made something, you helped the synergy, that's a pretty cool thing. So I would say that is really good that we've had that alignment, and that we are also just really stubborn. We're both Tauruses, and we are, I shouldn't say determined not to fail because I don't want to jinx anything, but you know what I mean? We're very much like, we're going to make it. We might be crazy, but we're going to make it. We're going to figure it out. We're going to find a way to the yes, not just to try to be everything to everybody, because you can't be, but we're going to find a way. This client's going to go somewhere and have an event or order food. Why not? If we can do it justice, we can make that client proud and ourselves proud. We're going to try.
Yeah. Michelle, you're my kind of leader because you are. You bring up so many good points. And for those listening, hopefully if you're thinking about starting a business, hopefully you are really listening to this, because Michelle, I mean, you brought up authenticness. I think that's so huge. Just being a family unit working together and just not giving up. I mean, again, it's so cliche, but that, you know how that saying goes, the minute you're about to give up, especially in a small business, that's when everything takes off. And it can take years and years and years. I know.
Yeah.
It really, it's kind of a never ending thing. And even listening to you 30 years plus, I know you're very successful and you guys have a strong foundation, but just listening to some of your stories just shows it's still never ending. You're always growing,
No.
evolving, and climbing some hills sometimes.
Definitely. And we still, it's in this industry, in the food service industry, margins are really small. And so you definitely, can it be lucrative in terms of there being a good cash flow when you get to a certain size? For sure. Are we very fortunate? We own two of our buildings. The place I'm in right now is an office space that we've rented for years. We are very lucky with a lot of things that our business has enabled us to grow into. But I will tell you that more years than not, we have oftentimes operated in the red, only to, this catering's a hard thing in Colorado, maybe everywhere, January through March. I think unless you're in the ski areas, it's always the season that we haven't been able to figure out. We're always kind of operating in the red those months. And so it takes us the other, 9 months of the year to climb out of it. But you figure it out, and you just, I think, again, it takes having a really great partner and trying to be as honest as you can be with your employees. And that's hard sometimes. Sometimes we all get sick of each other and we don't want to, we just want people to do the right thing. Sometimes I don't want to have to talk to you about doing the right thing. I just want you as an employee to do the right thing. Well, that not every employee responds that way. So we have really learned a lot about, I hope, being better coaches.
That makes sense. Yes, and showing people the right way. If they're not, that sounds so bad, but it's not funny. But it sounds funny to say that. But
No, but it's true because and I think you're quite a bit younger. I'm 56. You're quite a bit
not
younger,
that much.
Jessica. But you know what? We talk a lot about how intuition is a very different thing in this new demographic and age group. And I don't mean that to set aside anything with the millennials or Gen X or whatever our generation is. I think there's some brilliant, amazing new things that the younger generations are doing. And I'm so optimistic for the future. But I think that one size doesn't fit all as a leader in inspiring your team. Yes, some people can see me work my butt off, and that might inspire them. Wow, I see Michelle working on this. But other people might think she is really not very smart. Why is she still working so hard? Everybody learns differently. And you have to really take the time to coach them, but listen to what they're telling you, and even if an employee's only here for 6 months, but if they go on to whatever career, that makes me happy as a human being. If I was a positive force, we have just this year, we've got 4 weddings booked for previous employees who worked here when they were younger. They're still young. And that, I love that. You know what I mean?
So cool.
It's like, that's a really cool thing. And so you hope that you have an effect on people that lasts far longer than just your business relationship, because it's about people.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that. And speaking of people, I have to say, I'd like to take a quick moment to say good morning. We have some viewers, Najla, good morning, Anthony, Manushka, Galen. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us this morning. And gosh, Michelle, we've covered so much and we're almost out of time. So, but I definitely, before we go, there's a couple things that I definitely want to make sure that you share with our viewers. And the first is how to get in touch with you and make appointments and schedule for events.
Definitely. Should I just put in the chat maybe my email address and our website? Basically, our website is pbcatering.com. I'll put that in the chat. I'll also put my email and our phone number. We, like everybody in the world these days, has hopefully an online presence. You can search us. We have a brand new website that's really, really pretty. And we basically, we have some wonderful people that answer the phone all the time. Anybody that answers the phone can help answer questions. We do everything from very, very little events for 2 people, one person to elegant events for thousands of people. So we're not just a high-end caterer. We're not just a corporate caterer. We do a little bit of everything. And what we like to think is that service, whether we're just dropping off box lunches or we're doing a high-end sit-down dinner, that service from the heart is what we hope people taste when they taste our food. So I'll write that in the chat.
Yes, and I thank you for doing that. I usually do it at the end, and I can go in too. So I feel like, gosh, we didn't even get to your food and what you guys do incorporate on your menu. That's like the most important part.
Yeah, and we have great, one of the things we're excited about is that we're doing a lot, as are many companies, a lot of more locally sourced products, which is one of the coolest things about the last 5 years for me in Colorado Springs, and I'll make this quick, is that there are so many new local purveyors doing really cool things. And we're all about supporting local whenever we possibly can. Of course, some of our stuff, when you're doing a dinner for 200, you may not be able to get arugula all from a fountain, grown farm. But we try whenever possible to use local everything. And we're so lucky in this community because a lot of new entrepreneurs have come on the scene in the last 5 years. And even since the start of the pandemic, there's some amazing new people. And we want to feature, it doesn't always have to be just our food. There's a couple places in town that offer really wonderful, unique items. And we don't want to compete and recreate it. If we can do a party and it's a Polish family marrying into a South African family and they want a blend of those two foods, we're going to contact people that are experts in that and have them help us complete that menu. So we make everything fresh here, except for the times that we collaborate with people that we trust and that we love and that we want to help pump up their businesses as well.
Very nice, very nice. And I just have to say, Najla says Michelle is definitely a businesswoman of integrity. I completely agree.
Thank you.
You totally.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's important, and that means a lot. So basically, what you're telling me is if we do your catering, we can get a wide variety of any foods that we're looking for.
You can. And sometimes we've trimmed down our menus a little bit, but sometimes there's too many options. So a lot of our clients want to look at options. Some people love that. And other people call us and say, oh my God, everything looks good, but I'm way overwhelmed. Can you just tell me what your most popular things are and do a proposal for me? Because I just have to see it. I can't think. Mm-hmm. And so we like to help both. Some people want to look. They want to look at Pinterest and menus all day, and other people don't. They're like, I'm getting married. He likes beef. I like chicken. We have people that are picky. We have some gluten people. Do a menu. So we help all of those things in between.
Okay, that's good to know. So you've got every customer covered. You really do.
We really do. I mean, we know we can't be everything to everybody, but that doesn't stop us from trying. I want people to at least think of us. If they choose someone else, that's awesome. There's great businesses in this community, but I want to know that I did my job as an owner to at least have us come up in the thought process.
Well, now you're completely on my radar.
Well, it's so nice to talk to you, and you're very inspiring.
Yes, so I'm excited about that, and I look forward to us, down the road, definitely sooner than later, merging together and doing some things and events together, and especially once things get somewhat back to what we were used to. I would love to work with you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, it has been such a pleasure and lovely to have you today. I just appreciate you sharing all of your gems and jewels on business. And I just, congratulations on your 30 plus years. And I want to share because you told me this yesterday, your 35th, is it coming up?
32nd.
32nd. Okay.
It's April 5th.
April 5th. Okay. So, yes. So, I would love to, when you do something for that, I'd love to
Yes,
participate.
for sure. You will
Yes.
you will get an invitation. We can't wait until we can have a true event.
That'll be a blast. So,
Yeah, I think for everybody.
thank you so much. And I would love for you to also come back at some point, and especially as things are changing and shifting, as you
You
know,
bet.
COVID, we start to hopefully open up more, because I'm sure you'll have more to share. So please come back and join us another time.
Awesome. I'll do
Yes.
it.
Yes. Thank you so much. And for
Thank you.
now, this is Takeover Tuesday. Please stay healthy out there. Sending you well wishes for the rest of the week. And as always, stay inspired. Until next time.